Hello, welcome to this recorded class of Pilates for beginners. So those of you that normally watch my videos, just a disclaimer, I am teaching this class for the beginner. This has a lot of pre-Pilates in it, as well as some basic beginner Pilates Matwork exercises. I will not be up-leveling to the next level, and I will not be giving more advanced options. I'm keeping this very basic, very simple. If you are a beginner, just remember, always honor where your body is. So just because I'm doing it one way, you might have to vary it just a little bit different as long as it's safe for you. I'll give some little different modifications throughout. Always choose what works best for your body. Always take breaks. If you've never done Pilates mat work before, I would totally recommend watching this video first and then just do it with me afterwards, knowing what you can and can't do and how you want to modify some things. So today we're not going to use hardly any props, no balls, no bands, no Pilates circles. We will use a strap here. So this is just a basic strap that we'll use just for stretching. We'll stretch the upper body with it. We'll stretch the legs with it. That's all we're going to use it for. The blanket, the folded blanket, is 100% optional. Some people are really tight in their hips, and so when we do seated postures, sitting up a little higher can help with that alignment a little bit better. And sometimes, especially when we're beginning, or if you're like me, you're day to day and you just never know. Some people like that for knee cushions. If you need a little softer surface on the knees when we're down on all fours. So it's just something good to have, just in case you need it. If you don't, not a big deal. But that being said, we'll go ahead and get started. So let's start by just finding our nice standing posture here. Good. And I'm just going to move forward and back and a little bit side to side here. And I want to think about the parallel rotation. So parallel rotation in the legs and the feet just simply mean hips, knees, and toes are tracking forward. So we're not turning things outward. We're not turning things inward. We're trying to find that balance of hip, knees, and toes facing forward. Okay. Now, I'm just going to turn to the side here so you can see alignment just a little bit better. Think about the big toes being in alignment. So I have to really think about this sometimes because I have a little bit of a hip rotation here. So if I'm not careful, then this foot wants to kind of step out a little ahead of the other. So try to find that alignment, big toes in alignment. You want to be nice and soft in the knees. So we don't want to be locked here. This puts the pelvis in an anterior tilt. So we want to be nice and soft. And when we do that, then the pelvis can settle down in a more neutral position. So I like to say soft knees, soft tailbone, rolling shoulders back so we have a soft heart. And hopefully thinking maybe ears, shoulders, hips, and ankles will come into this alignment. So some people are like this. Can you think about growing tall through your feet, coming up a little bit? And some of this just takes practice. Some of it takes movement practice to get out of these habit patterns, but just kind of notice. And then from here, when you're ready, think about now engaging your core. So we're going to zip up from the pubic bone to behind the navel. Think about a lifting, kind of an up and in of your sexual and internal organs here. So you're just lifting up and in. If you're not really sure about that, then just think about belly button into the spine so you can protect your low back here. Okay, good. And now we're going to breathe. So again, I have a lifelong habit pattern of locking out my knees. So some of you probably do too. So just kind of bring in that reminder every now and then, soft knees. Good. So as you breathe, and you can place your hands right here on the low rib cage. Think about expanding the rib cage as you inhale, and maybe pursing the lips on the exhale. Inhale and expand. Now, something else I like to do here, when I'm pursing my lips on the exhale, I like to think about engaging my abs or that pelvic floor lift just a little bit deeper. So we'll practice this a few times. Inhale, expand. Good, press it out. Inhale, expand. Good. I will remind you periodically to come back to that breath. The most important thing though, especially if you're a beginner, is to just breathe. So if that's too difficult right now, just breathe. Try not to hold your breath. Good. So we're going to go into a little bit of movement here, getting into a little bit of a warm-up sequence. So again, find your feet. I'm going to lift my toes, and as I do that, I'm going to press in the big toe and pinky toe mounds, a little bit of a lifting of the arches and feeling both sides of the heels. Good. And maybe just a little bit forward and back, a little bit side to side. Now, if I were to lower my toes, could I keep those arches a little bit? Good. And then from here, hands can be on the waist. That tends to be my habit pattern, my favorite spot, but you can have them anywhere you want. And just little knee bends here. When I'm taking my knee bends, I want to try not to hinge forward here. That's a different exercise of what we're doing. I want to try to keep my heels grounded. So you're not going to go very far. You're going to feel this in both the shins. So you're going to feel it more in the front. You're going to feel it in the tendon here in the back of the calves. Stay with your breath. Good. And then from here, maybe look down. Can hips, knees, and toes track here? So we don't want the knees to fall in or fall out. It is a little bit of a balance challenge for some of us. Good. Now from here, I'm going to bend, and I'm going to take some little pulses. Pulse, 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 coming all the way up. Good. You can hold on to a wall or a steady piece of furniture. Just lift one foot, take that ankle, and just rotate it in one direction. And then we'll take that in the opposite direction. Good. And maybe just a gentle point and flex. Good. So we'll take that to the other side. I'm just going to turn around here with my wall. Good. Other leg, just lift slightly. Just rotate that ankle around in one direction. And then the other. And then just a gentle point and flex. Good. Now, from here, whenever you're ready, we're just going to go into some gentle marching. You feel free to swing your arms with it. We're going to march, 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 march. Take your feet down, check your alignment. So again, for me, I don't have a perfect alignment here, so because I've got that rotation. So my right foot is a little bit more forward of my left. So I'm going to try to be mindful of that when I do this a second time. So it's march, 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 march. Notice as we march, we are getting warmer, but as we settle our feet down, notice again, can you come back into a little bit more alignment? Or do you have one foot a little bit more forward than the other? So this is a good little exercise to kind of practice on your own, even outside of this video. And then when you're ready, good. So now I'm a little bit in better alignment. So that's just a good one to have. I'm going to take my feet out a little bit wider here. Good. So not too wider from the hips. I'm still in parallel. Hip, knees, and toes are coming forward. And I'm just going to squat. Now, try not to hinge forward in your squat here. That's different. Good. But you're just going to squat. Hips, knees, and toes always track in that same alignment. Good. Maybe add some arms here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Can we keep belly button in? Good. Maybe squeeze the glutes around the gluteal folds just a little bit here. Good. And then from here, now we're going to go into an external rotation, also known as lateral rotation. So that just means hip, knees, and toes are going to turn out away from the midline of the body, and heels are going to swing inward. So I'm going to take my hands right here on my waist. So again, think about you've got a rod behind you, so we're not hinging forward. You don't have to come too deep here. I'm driving through the heels. I'm driving through my glutes. I'm zipping up from pubic bone to behind the navel. Good. Now, if you find yourself going into that habit pattern of hinging forward here and then kind of hanging out here, think about tucking it in a little bit and find that squat. Good. From here, Good. We're going to go into what's called, I call it Pilates V. Other teachers and disciplines or lineages will call it different things. But Pilates V, you're trying to really zip up at the heels. You're zipping up through the inner thighs. You've got maybe about a fist width apart between the two big toes. You're in that slight external rotation. Now, for me personally, I will say this took me several years to be able to stay connected at the heels and stay connected at the thighs. I was right here for a long time. So if this is where you are, that's fine. We do what we can and we keep practicing and practicing and practicing because practice makes progress. And then eventually we get closer to our goal. So from here, I'm just going to take my hands at the waist. You can have your hands anywhere you want to. Just a little plie. Heels are just going to stay grounded. And we zip up. And little plie. And zip up. And relax through the shoulders. We're zipping all the way up. Good. 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 There's little pulses here when you come into the plie. Pulse, 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 pulse. Zip it all the way up. My glutes are warm. I hope yours are too. You can shake out one leg and shake out the other. Good. Let's just come into some nice big arm circles here. And I'm just going to kind of cross one arm over the front. So for me, that's my left or right arm coming over top of the left. Kind of do that slow motion just so you see. Good. And then from here, we'll reverse. Good. As reverse, now my left arm is the front arm. Good. It's warming up a little bit here through the shoulders. Good. And then when you're ready, whoo, shake it, shake it, shake it all out. All right. We're going to start coming down to the floor. We're going to start with that standing roll down. Okay. So we're going to keep this one real simple. So again, find your nice tall stance. Find your good posture. So toes are in alignment with each other as best as you can. Good. Maybe we're parallel, hip width apart. So right in line, hip bones, knees and toes facing forward. Good. I'm standing tall and I'm zipping up. Good. From here, big inhale, exhale. I'm going to nod my chin. As I nod my chin, I'm thinking about really scooping that belly button in. Good. So I'm trying not to create a habit of hinging my hips back. It's better to bend the knees here and come down if you need to do that. And that's probably going to be most of you in the beginning. Tight hamstrings will do that to you. And then once you get to your limit, which might not be the floor, think about a downward pressure. So you're pushing from the hips into the feet. You're pushing into that floor, starting from the tailbone. And you're just going to ragdoll it up one vertebra at a time. So you're stacking bone by bone. Shoulders, chin, and head are last to come up. Good. We're going to do that a few more times. Let me give a modification. Some of you, that deep sea curve scoop might not be where you need to be today. So maybe you keep a flatter spine. So maybe you look more like this. And then you still got that downward pressure and you're coming up and coming back to your tall. Okay. So practice where you are. Good. A couple more times. Big inhale, exhale. Good. You're just kind of thinking about a rag doll here. So arms are just doing what they're due. Good. And then nice and smooth and fluid as best as you can. You might be slower than how I'm going now, and that is okay. We work where we need to work, and we'll go one more time. Good. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, you come all the way back up. Let's take our arms up overhead. Reach, reach, reach nice and tall. I'm going to take my palms towards that wall in front of me, and I'm just going to open my arms to the side. I'm going to shine my heart forward a little bit here. Just opening, little back bend stretch. Feels good. Good. And then from here, I'm going to come down. We're going to roll down, and then we're going to come down to our back here. So we're just going to roll it down. Good. When you come down, just carefully bend the knees, walk it forward. Now for me, when I'm transitioning onto my back from here, I like to cross my ankles and sit back. If there's a better way that you need to get back there, then that's the way that I recommend for you. Good. I'm just going to scoot forward here just for the sake of the camera. And then I'm just going to help myself come down to the floor. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of wiggle, wiggle, wiggle here, getting all settled. So we're going to go over the neutral spine and the imprinted spine, something that I don't always have time to teach in my more advanced classes. So my knees are bent here. And what the neutral spine is, it's a safe place for you to work, protecting the spine. You want to think about your pubic bone, which is your bone that's down here, and your two hip bones are on the same plane. So you don't have your hip bones jacked up this way and your pubic bone down. You don't have your pubic bone jacked up here and your hip bones down. You're looking for that evenness. Theoretically, when they're even, you could balance your favorite beverage here. I don't recommend necessarily trying that unless you want to go for a mess, but theoretically you could if they are even. So another way to find that is I like to make a little triangle here. Good. So the palms of my hands are going to be more on my hip bones, and then my fingertips are going to go towards the pubic bone here. Good. And then I'm going to lift and I'm going to look down there for a moment. Are they even? Okay. Thumbs may touch, they may not touch. That's not important. Good. So I look pretty even here. This is where most people work. This is where the advanced people work. Sometimes our spine is not ready to work there right off the bat. So we need a different spinal alignment. So that's where imprint comes in. So let me explain this too. So when you're in neutral spine, for most people, you're going to have a natural curvature, like a little mouse hole under the small part of your back. So you have a little bit of a gap there, okay? When we're in imprint, basically you're rocking the pelvis back and you're closing that gap. It's a light closure of the gap. It's a light touch of the low back into the mat. You never want to jam the low back into the mat. When I first started Pilates mat work, I worked in imprint. That's what we were taught, imprint, imprint, imprint. And no one corrected me that it was a light touch versus a jamming. And I had a horrible habit pattern of jamming my low back into my mat, both on the mat and on reformer later on, and created a lot of back pain for myself till I went through training and got into the neutral spine. I was like, oh, this feels a lot better. So be mindful that imprint is a temporary thing. As you get used to the work and stronger in the core and the midsection, core being both the abs in the front body and your muscles in the back body. And as soon as you're strong enough with that, go back into your neutral. Good. So we're going to practice that here. Good. So I'm going to start in my neutral. Big inhale, I'm drawing up and in. Everything is in nice and tight. Exhale, I'm going to rock it back to imprint. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, imprint. Now, also as you move through here, this is also just a nice little low spine warm up, regardless of level. See if you can be wide through the collarbone, and see if your low rib cage can also be heavy and anchored. And we breathe. So remember, we're expanding the rib cage on the inhale. On the exhale, shh. And when you do that, especially from this point, you'll feel a little bit of a deeper core connection. Good. And then when you're ready, good. We're going to find that neutral. We're going to go right into some bridge work here while we're down here. So 2 bridges, those of you that maybe that C curve, that 1 vertebra at a time, lift and lower, might not be where you are today. Your bridge is going to be this one. So hips, knees, and toes are going to track parallel, hip width apart. You're facing forward. I'm going to roll my shoulders back. You're going to evenly press into both feet, and you're just going to lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Your body will let you know when you should not come up any higher here. You're focusing on an even pelvis, and then you'll just lower right back down. Those of you that are okay with the C curve rock and roll will rock and roll with me. So rolling shoulders back, getting set. Inhale. Exhale, rock the pelvis back through imprint. You're going to peel up one vertebrae at a time, coming up into your bridge. And then from here, when you're ready, we'll lower down from the mid-back, lowering bone by bone. Think about growing longer from crown to tail each time you lower a vertebrae. Those of you that are not doing it that way, if you're just lifting and lowering between each bridge, find a little bit more length. And then from here, when you're ready, we'll rock it back. We'll take it back up. And carefully lower that back down. We're going to do one more. When we completely finish this one. Good. Last one, last time. Taking it back, peeling it up. Good. Try to keep hips, knees, and toes in alignment. Try not to let the knees fall in or fall out. And we'll lower that back down. Good. Now, once you are back in your imprint or neutral spine, take your knees into your chest here and just rock, rock, rock side to side. Good. Some people, it's nice if you take your hands on your knees and just make some little circles here. Nice little low back massage. Good. And then we'll go in the other direction. Good. From here, when you're ready, we're going to transition. I'm going to recommend that you roll over onto the side that's best for you and then carefully come up to a seat. So from here, we're going to go into some cat-cows and some tail wags. So I'm just going to turn right here. So this is, again, if you would need that knee cushion, you can bring that blanket in. So to set up for good form for cat-cow, we're in tabletop. Good. So I'm spreading my fingers nice and wide. I'm rooting through the knuckles of my pinky, my pointer, and my thumb. I'm turning my elbows in slightly. I'm pressing that floor away so my shoulders are back in their pockets. My belly button is in, so I don't want to droop or fall here. So I want to be supported. Think about head and neck being always an extension of the spine. Knees can be under the hips or slightly behind them. And if you've got a little bit of low back issues today, you can take your knees slightly wider than hip width apart and see if that helps. So from here, on an inhale, I'm going to shine my heart forward, tip my pelvis back. That's your cow. Exhale, I'm going to round. Good. Take it to your limit. Gaze is coming to belly button or the thighs. That's my cat pose. Inhale. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Good. From here, come back for a moment, just a baby child's pose. Decompress those wrists if you need to. I call this cupcaking the fingertips. Good. So word, anytime you need to come back and cupcake the fingertips, please do so. Just remember, we never want to weight bear on the fingertips. So when you're ready to come back and do that, you always want to have your hands flat down on the floor. We're going to come into tail wag here. So what this one is, I'm going to start on my left side because that's my side that happens to be facing you right now. I'm just going to take that left knee back just a smidge, just so that I'm not too much on the kneecap. I'm going to bend that left knee. I'm going to take my left foot over to the left. And when I do that, I'm going to look over the left shoulder. I'm trying to squeeze the low rib cage and the top of that hip bone together. And then I'm going to cross that left leg over my right leg as I take it to the right and I look over my right shoulder. Okay, so that's tail wag. I'm going to show this to you from a different angle. Excuse my backside here, but sometimes this is just a good way to show the exercise. So I'm on my left. I'm looking to my left. I'm squeezing that side body. I'm crossing over to the right. There's 1, 2, belly button in, don't forget to breathe. 3 and 4. Good. And when you're ready, we will take that all to the other side. So I'm just going to kind of turn around right from here. I think I've made a circle and we'll take that into the right side. Good. So now I've got my right knee back just a little bit here. I'm bending that right leg. Good. Go to the right and left. And 2 and squeeze. And 3 and 4. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, just take that nice little simple child's pose, maybe cupcaking the fingertips. And when you're ready, we're going to come back onto our backs. We're going to do some chest lift work and a half 100s and do some stretching. So I'm just going to come forward. I'm going to cross at my ankles. I'm going to come back to a seat. Good. And roll down from there. Again, if there's a better way for you to get down there, go ahead and do so. Have your strap handy. We're going to use that for a stretch here in a moment. Good. So I'm going to come down here. Good. So again, check back in with yourself. Can you find your safe neutral? Maybe you need to be in the imprint. Hip bones, knees, and feet are tracking forward and parallel. Rolling your shoulders back. Zip up from that pubic bone to behind the navel. Belly button is into the spine. We're going to go into some chest lifts. Inhale, I'm taking my arms up towards the ceiling. Palms are facing the feet. Actually, you know what? Let's do a little bit of scapular mobility here before we work. Since we're up here, let's go into some elevation and depression. So, or protraction and retraction rather. So protraction, I'm reaching towards the ceiling here. So I'm lifting my shoulders out of their pockets. Retraction, I'm taking them back down into my pockets. So protract, retract, protract, retract, protract, retract, protract, retract. Good. So find kind of an in-between point here. Good. So now we're really going to go into the chest lift. Zip up from pubic bone behind the navel. Big inhale. Exhale. I'm going to nod my chin as I take my arms long and low down to the side. Good. I'm lifting shoulders and shoulder blades off the floor. I'm taking my gaze to my mid-thigh, and I have a slight chin tuck. My chin is not jamming to my chest. I just want to take it right to where my gaze is. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, lower that down. Inhale to prepare. Exhale. Good. You're going to get that lift. You're going to come all the way long and low. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, lower that down. So be mindful of your neutral or your imprint. Belly button stays in here. Big inhale and expand to prepare. Exhale, nodding the chin and lift. Inhale. Exhale, lower. We'll do one more time like this and we'll change it up. Big inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Good. We're going to take this into rotation now. I'm going to keep my arms up. I'm zipping up. You're in your neutral and imprint. Big inhale. Exhale. I'm going to nod the chin. I'm C-curving. As I come up, I'm going to go towards the right. So I'm reaching with the left hand to the outside of that right thigh. I'm lifting that left shoulder and rib cage off my back. And then I'm coming back to center. We'll take that right into the left. Lift, rotate left. And come down. Lift, rotate right. Stay with your breath. And come down. Lift, rotate left. And come down. One more time, each side. To the right. Exhale. Inhale. To the left. Exhale. Inhale. Good. Just relax. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. We're going to go into the 50s here, which is a half 100. So what this is, we inhale for 5 counts. We exhale for 5 counts. We're going to do that for 5 sets. Okay. Feet are going to stay grounded here. And then from here, arms are going to come up. We're going to come up into that chest lift. Find imprint or neutral. Big inhale. Exhale. We're going to come up. Good. We're going to reach long and low. My gaze is still to my mid-thigh. I'm relaxing my shoulders. And I'm going to start pumping here. I'm long and strong from the shoulders. I'm not doing anything from the elbows. This is all from the shoulders. And it's nice and tight. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, lift. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, hold. Could you lift higher and deeper? Lifting arms, lowering that down. Take one knee at a time into the chest. Rock, 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 side to side. Gently take head and neck from side to side. Good. We're going to do that one more time. Another final set. Feet are down. Good. Finding parallel. Hips, knees, and toes. Finding neutral. Finding imprint. Zipping everything up and in. Good. Arms up. Big inhale. Exhale. C-curve lift. Reach, reach, reach. Nice and low. Good. You know it now. Start pumping. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, hold. Lift higher, reach deeper, and carefully take that down. Again, take those knees into the chest, and we'll rock, 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 side to side. Maybe making some little circles here. Good. So by now, you should start to feel what I call a little bit special. Special in the fact that you are feeling that you have done some work somewhere. Good. So we're going to stretch here before we go into some leg circles. So I'm going to take my extra long strap. Good. And then I'm just going to take that strap down the center part of my right foot. Good. Let the hip or the femur, rather, that leg settle down into its pocket. Your other leg can be bent. Now, if you feel pretty good in the low back and you want to take that leg long, there's nothing wrong with that. So just be where you need to be. Find a grip that's appropriate for your range of motion. We're still in parallel. Toes, knees, and hips are facing the face. And I'm going to take that leg into the face. Some of you might look like this, and that's okay. We stretch where we are. Always keep a little bend in this knee. We don't want to lock it and hyperextend. Again, could you find a little bit of length from crown to tail here? Your belly button is still in. Could you still find some expansion of the rib cage as you inhale? Good. When you're ready, we're going to release. Good. Trying not to hit myself in the head with the strap. It's not working out very well, but that's okay. So I'm going to take both sides of the strap into my right hand, same hand as leg. Both hips are going to stay grounded here. Both shoulders will stay grounded as you take this leg out to the right. If your left hip, left shoulder start to pop up here, your leg is too far to the right and you need to lift it up. If you're seeking something slightly different and it's okay for you, you can give a slight tug towards that right shoulder. Again, softness in that knee, no hyperextension. Breathe and expand. And then from here, we're going to take that up. Good. Use the strap to support you. We're switching out hands. Now the left hand's going to grab both straps. Your right leg, this wrong leg. Left leg is going to come long if you had it bent. I recommend taking your right arm out to the side here. And we're just going to arc over. Good. So it can be 45 degrees with a straight leg. Some of you need a little bend in the knee. The goal is to stretch right out here, your IT band. We're breathing and expanding. And then from here, when you're ready, we're going to come back up to center. Remove that foot from the strap. I'm going to go ahead and put a bend back in my left leg. Good. So I'm taking my right leg up towards the ceiling. You can put a point in it, but you don't want to have it so pointed that you get a foot cramp. Arms are going to come out to the side here for just a little bit more support. And again, finding your neutral or your imprinted spine. Belly button is in nice and tight. We're just going to go to some tiny little circles here. Good. So we're working on the core control. You might even feel this in your core. If you do, that's great. That's what we're going for. But we don't want our hips to rock around here. Okay. So you're concentrating on that control. Good. I'm going to think about 4, 6, or 8 circles in one direction. And when you're ready, you're going to take that in the opposite direction. Good, and I think that's my 8th one. Good, I'm just going to take my hands behind that knee and I'm just going to pull it in. Maybe it wants to reach nice and long. And we're going to take that all on the other side. So now I'm going to put a bend in that right knee. I'm going to take my strap now around the center part of the left foot. Or if you're not really sure, just do the opposite of what you did before. Good. Let that leg settle down into its socket. And then when you're ready, find a grip that's appropriate for your range of motion. And we'll bring that leg in towards the face. Keeping this knee soft and unlocked. Go to your range of motion. So I'm noticing today this side is tighter than my other side. Breathe and expand the rib cage, find length. And then from here, whenever you're ready, we're going to release out of here. Good. And we're just going to take both straps into the left hand. Good. So remember, we want both hips, both shoulders to stay grounded. Right arm's going to come to the side. I'm just going to let that leg go out to the left. A gentle reminder, if the right hip, right shoulder start to come up here, your leg is too far to the right, you want to bring it back in. Use your abs to support and control this stretch. Breathe and expand. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, we're going to take that leg back into center. I'm going to extend my right leg long here. Good. I'm going to switch both hands into the right hand. Good. So remember this crossbody stretch. You can take that leg over with a long leg, or you can put a little bend in the knee if you need to do that. And some people have to kind of move things around to find your sweet spot. That's already okay. And when you're ready, we're going to take that back to center. Good. And release. Good. From here, when you're ready, I'm just going to take my knees in and I'm going to rock, rock, rock side to side. We're going to go into another little ab exercise here before we come up and do some different things. So this is a modified single leg stretch. So my feet are grounded here. If you need to keep upper body lowered, you can. But what we're going to do is you're still parallel hip width apart. I'm going to, as my right knee comes in, my left hand's going to come to the knee. I'm going to reach for that right ankle with my right hand. And what this does is this keeps that alignment so that your knee's not going out this way or coming in here and doing crazy things. You're staying in that alignment. Okay, same thing. You can be in a C curve here. That's going to be a little bit more challenging. And then we switch. Okay, and we switch. What this does down here is it builds the control. So when you do the full, when you move up to the full single leg stretch, your body doesn't rock side to side and your hips stay grounded. Okay. So I'm still tucking that chin a little bit. Anytime you're in the C curve, you want that little chin to tuck. You don't want the head to hang back here in space. Your neck will let you know very quickly it does not like to be there. It also creates a nasty headache at the end of the day if you don't practice with chin tuck. Or if maybe you're up here, but you can't keep tension out of your neck, always lower down. You don't want to practice through the tension. So from here, we will lower down and just take that head gently side to side. Good. We're going to transition here to a seat. So I'm just going to roll over to the side and carefully come up. Good. From here, we're going to practice some roll downs and maybe a half roll up, depending on where you need to practice your roll down. So we'll start here. Good. I'm going to show you the full, and then I'll show you some modifications. So from the full roll down, legs are long. I'm zipping up. I'm in a nice tall spine. My arms are forward. I'm going to think about really taking that belly button in. So think about that C curve. Okay. And I'm going to slowly, with control, carefully come down. Being mindful, if you've got weaknesses in the core and flexibilities in the spine, you may go down a little bit faster in those parts, and I usually do right about there. Good. And then from here, that's your roll down. You'll roll over to your side, and you'll come all the way back up, and you'll do that again. Okay, so we're only just going to go for 5 today. Modifications. Some of you need a bend in the knees. Maybe you need to hold on a little bit here to the thighs. You'll start your nice tall spine. Good. Remember, you're tipping that pelvis back when you're rocking back. And then your point of control is going to be right before you feel like your feet are going to fly up off the floor. And then, good. Now you've got the half roll up that you're practicing here. Next step, you'll release the hands, same thing. And coming back up here. Good. And then maybe you want to practice that half roll up with the half roll down with your legs long. You can come here. Good. And come all the way back up. Good. So practice 5 of those. I'm going to just do the full roll down here. So I'm sitting up. Good. Coming down, rolling over to my side. That counts as 2 because we probably all did the first one together. Good. Here's 3. Ooh, good. And 4. So I have inflexibilities in that part of my back because I'm coming back from an injury. So if you watch my other videos, you see me do different things, or maybe bad form doing a full roll up because of that said injury. But, you know, we do what we can. We accept our limitations as we have them. Sometimes those limitations improve. Sometimes we just need to accept it as a limitation and move on. It doesn't mean we can't do other things or practice other things, or in my case, teach just because I can't do a full roll up very well. Good. So we'll do one more. Good. Now I'm also coming up pretty quickly on my side. If you need to take a little bit more time to do that, please take more time to do that. Remember, you can always pause this video, do yours at your pace, and then press play again and go right into the next thing. Good. So as we come up on your last one, we're going to go into a seated AD adductor stretch. So I'm just going to turn and face you here. Good. So I'm going to take my legs out. I don't want to come to my absolute widest. So this is about my 85, 90%. This is an example of my widest. That's not where I want to be. So I'm going to come in just a little bit here. Good. My feet are in flexion, so my toes are towards my face. If you're super tight in your hamstrings, I assume you're watching this from home. So remember, you can always roll up a hand towel or blankets or something like that, cushioning your knees so you don't have to think about constantly keeping them bent. I just know that's an option. We'll inhale and reach. We're going to hinge forward with a flat spine. And when you can come no more with that long spine, then take your hands down. Keep length here. And we'll breathe and expand. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, we'll carefully come back up. Good. So we're going to go into spine stretch forward. Good. Spine stretch side, and a few rounds of saw. We'll learn that here before we come onto our belly. So I'm going to turn sideways here for this one, just so you can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Your legs or your heels, my heels are about mat width apart because I'm practicing on a mat. If you're not practicing on a mat, just think about taking your heels a little bit wider than hip width apart. Good. So again, some people, you might want to sit up on a blanket here. That will help with tight hips a little bit. If you don't need one, you don't need one. Don't worry. Again, watch your knees if you're tight in your hamstrings. Feet are still in flexion. So again, think about that standing roll down that we did earlier, where I had you think about scooping in the belly. So when we roll forward, we're scooping that belly and rolling forward. We're not doing this. That's a hip hinge. That's a different exercise. We're learning that scooping and that rolling forward. However, if you're someone that needs that hip hinge and just to get that little reach, then that's fine too. Another visual that I like is thinking about you're playing tug of war and you're the anchor at the end of the rope, and that rope is around your belly, and people are pulling on you this way, and you're trying to go this way. Think about kind of folding over that rope. Good. Try to find a non-violent example there. So from here, when you're ready, we're just going to round. You're only going to go to your limit. Ears are going to be by the biceps when you do, so that means your gaze is going to be between the knees. You're not looking forward at the wall or whatever it is in front of you. And then starting from that tailbone, think about that bone by bone, one vertebrae at a time stack, nice to your tall spine. You can also practice this one up against a wall, practicing peeling off one vertebrae at a time, and then pressing into that wall, stacking one vertebrae at a time if you're concerned about coming too far back. That wall's a nice trainer for this one. And we're going to do this one more time. Okay, and when I get around to doing individual exercise tutorials and modifications, you'll see this at the wall. Good. So from here coming down, if you need to bounce, go ahead and do that. We're going to go into twist. And for this one, I will turn around here, or twist and side bending. So when we side bend, we're going to go side to side. You want to try to think about shoulders and hips being in alignment when you do so. And you want to keep your hips, your sits bones anchored. So when you come over, you don't want to lift up here. You want to keep it in that torso. Good. Allowing you to get that nice side stretch that we're looking for. And coming up to center and taking it over again. Oh. And sometimes this just feels good, and it feels so much better when your hips are grounded. And we'll do that again. Taking it over. Nothing like a good side bend. And then take it to the other side. Good. We're going to go into rotations now. Again, same thing with rotation. We're thinking about the upper body rotating. Hips stay on the ground. They don't rotate with you. So we'll take the arms to the side. Think about your arms, your upper torso is kind of like one big rod. So when we come forward, we don't want to do different things with the arms. Think about moving as a single unit. So just gentle twist, no cranking through the spine, and center. Relax the shoulders. And other side, and center. Last time, and center. And other side, and center. Relax and shake. Now we're going to put all of that together into saw. So, and we'll just do a couple of these to each side. So from here, we're going to rotate. Good. Think about that spine stretch forward, around, thinking about reaching. Think about starting the pinky toe off with the pinky finger. If you can't reach, you do the best you can do and don't worry about it. Good. Both hips stay grounded. And then we're going to come up one vertebrae at a time, coming back, and we'll rotate. We'll round and reach. And back up to center. Last time each side, rotate, round and reach, and come up, rotate, round and reach, and come up. Great job. Just roll all of that out. Woo. Shake it, shake it, shake it. We're going to transition onto our belly. So the way that's best for you to get to your belly is the way that I recommend for you to get to that belly. Good. And we're just going to do some baby swans here, some just gentle extensions. So I'm going to take my hands a little forward into the side of my mat. I'm going to let my elbows settle down to the side. Good. And I'm just kind of wiggling here. Good. So again, you want to think about that neutral spine. So as I take my belly button into the spine, I'm thinking about lengthening a little bit here. So my pubic bone is into the mat. I'm rolling my shoulders back. And then from here, I'm just going to get a nice little lift. We only lift as high. We're keeping these gentle intentionally, but you only want to lift as high as you feel no crunching through the low back. If you feel crunching, that's because it is crunching and you're up too high. So be mindful, and we'll lower. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Belly button in, pubic bone into your mat. You're fine. Baby swan number 2. And we'll come down. Keep your hands nice and light. So theoretically, as you lengthen and lift here, you could lift the hands. Okay, so you want to keep that just nice and light, and we'll lower. We're going to do that one more time. Lengthen, 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 and we'll come up and we'll come down. Good, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. We're going to go into a quad stretch here. I'm going to take my left arm forward. I'm going to bend that right knee. And I'm going to reach back. You can always grab pants. Good. I'm just going to settle this down here, keeping this first one nice and gentle. Good. And then from here, we'll release. Good. We'll switch sides. Good. Think about lengthening the lower body a little bit if you need a little bit more into the quad. Good. And then from here, when you're ready, we'll release. We're going to roll onto our side. We're just going to do a couple sideline exercises here. I'm going to use this arm as a pillow. If you've got a blanket, remember you can always use that as a pillow or an actual pillow here too. I'm going to bend that bottom knee. And you want to practice being on the hip. Some people need more hip cushion as well. And so a folded blanket might feel better there as well. So you want to be on your hip bones. You don't want to be back here on the glutes. So think about a parallel stack. Good. I'm going to get a little bit of a point here with this toe. This hand's going to come down here for support. I'm still zipping up. I'm not letting my belly button and core connection go here. And we're going to lift. Think about squeezing right here and lower. In 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. I'm going to bring that down. Good. Find your core connection. 6 little circles. 1. Hips don't swing around here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to bend that knee in. Try to keep knee, hip, and ankle in the same plane. Drive through the glute and the heel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Good. From here, carefully roll onto your back. Whatever leg that you had on top, you're going to cross that ankle over your opposite knee for figure 4. Pressing into that thigh. Some of you will choose to bring that in towards the chest. Maybe a little rock, rock, rock here, nice and gentle. Very special stretch happening there. Okay. And then from here, when you're ready, we're going to carefully undo. Good. Roll over to your side. And I'm just going to take my legs back around here. And we're going to take that into the other side. So same setup here. Make that little pillow. Good. We'll bend that bottom knee. Good. Make sure you're on your hip bones here. And then from here, when you're ready, little point, but not so much you get a foot cramp. Lifting for 6. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Take that out hip width apart. Little circles, nice tight. Watch your pelvic control here. Smaller circles will give you more control. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. And reverse. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Bending in the knee. Knee, hip, and foot stay in that same plane of movement. And we've got 1, 2. Squeeze that glute. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Whew. Come onto your back. Cross whatever leg you had on top, that ankle over that opposite knee. And we'll bring it in maybe. Whew. Even a more special stretch on the side because it's my tighter side. My left side tends to be my stronger side. So your stronger side usually will be your tighter side, but not always. Kind of depends on the day, depends on the time of day. Good, and then from here, when you're ready, carefully undo. And we're gonna wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Good. Before we come back on all fours and do some plank and push-up work, we're gonna come into a little twisty here. Take your arms out to the side. Knees are gonna come into tabletop. So tabletop, knees are over hips, shins are parallel to the floor. And we'll take those knees to one side. It doesn't matter what side you take them to. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Try to have that opposite shoulder grounded. Maybe look over to that opposite hand. Breathe and expand. So another little tip, if you cannot expand the rib cage when you're in a twist, that's your cue that you're too deep into your twist. And then from here, we'll take one leg at a time, back in the center. Let's wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. And we'll go to the other side. So reset your tabletop position, knees over hips, shins parallel to the floor. And we'll take those knees over to the other side. Ooh, maybe looking to the other side. Breathe and expand that rib cage. Good. And whenever you're ready, head back to center, one leg at a time, back into center. Wiggle, 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 and maybe make some other little circles here. Good. And then when you're ready, just rolling over to one side, press yourself up. Good. We're going to come back to all fours. So remember our all four position from the beginning of the session. Good. So use that knee cushion if you need to. We're spreading the fingers nice and wide. We're rooting through the knuckles of the pinky, pointer, and thumb. So we're going to go to some sternum drops here. So this is more scapular mobility. So what we're going to do, and you can also do this on the forearms here if your wrists are not happy right now, but we're just going to let that chest drop, sternum drops towards the floor, and then we're going to press away. And we drop and press away. And drop and press away and drop and press away. Good. So from here, if you need to come back for a moment, do that. We're going to go into a little bit of a balance challenge here. This works core, also a front and back side of the body. We'll start this off with a stretch. So I'm going to take my left foot back. Good. So I'm pressing into the big toe and pinky toe mounds of that foot. I'm letting my left hip drop slightly so my pelvis becomes more even. My belly button is in. Good. Shoulders in their pockets, elbows are bent, and I'm pressing back through that heel. Let's get that little back of the leg stretch here. And then we'll come up. Good. You can keep a lowered toe or a hip height lift. We don't want to go beyond hip height. Hip, knee, and toe face the floor, and maybe the right arm comes up. Lift out of your supporting shoulder. Belly button is in. And then we'll take that down. Other side. Right foot comes back. Press into big toe and pinky toe mounds. Right hip drops slightly. Press back through that heel. Find your little stretchy. And then we'll come up. A little bit of a lift or hip height lift. Hip, knee, and toe face the floor. Opposite arm reaches forward. Lift out of that supporting shoulder. Good. Belly button stays in. Stay with the breath. Don't hold it. And we'll take that down. Good. Take that again to the other side. And take it down. And other side. And take it down. One more. And take it down. Last one. Good. Okay. From here, I'm going to come back. I'm going to cupcake. We're going to do planks, and I will give you a modification in the full, because just because you're more of a beginner doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do the full plank. But from here, good. So from your tabletop position, think about, again, you're rooting through the knuckles of the pinky, pointer, and thumb. In a plank, especially the high plank, you're going to root a little bit deeper through the pointer and the thumb here. Shoulders are going to be over or slightly behind the wrist. Elbows can turn in a little bit. So grounded plank, knees are low, okay? I'm thinking about a long line from shoulder to knee. So I don't want to hang down in here and I don't want to be up here, okay? This is all fours, this is not a plank. So be mindful. Good. And then you've got your high plank, you're lifted and you're pressing back through the heel. Good. So find your plank, be up high or down low, press that mat away, and we're going to hold here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press back, lower knees if you went up high. Good. From the plank, we learned our push-ups. So you can do the push-ups up high. If you don't have a lot of upper body strength here, I'm going to recommend that you follow me coming down onto your knees. Okay, you can lift the knees, you can cross the ankles, you can have them grounded. It's all personal preference, none of it is wrong. So drawing up and in, I'm trying not to collapse through the shoulders. Good, elbows are going to come out to the side, halfway, press away, 1. And 2. And 3. Take a break here if you're newer. Maybe you could go for 4. Maybe you could go for 5. Good, and then we'll take it back. Good job. From here, when you're ready, we're going to have a seat. And before we come up to standing, we're going to go into some arm stretches here. Okay. So I have a super long strap. This is the strap that I use in yoga. So it's about an 8-footer. So I can use it with tall people. So I can use it with restorative practice, all different kinds of things. That's why it's so large. But I'm going to thread it between my pointer and my thumb here. Good. I'm sitting nice and tall. I'm going to take my arms up. I'm going to take that back. Just get that nice stretch. Maybe you want to come back a little bit more and you need to kind of take your hand a little bit wider on that strap. Good. And maybe you want to just go to the side a little bit here, finding that nice stretch. And then coming up and going to the other side for a nice stretch. Good, and then from here, you're just gonna take that down. Good. Take your arms to the side. I'm gonna cross my left arm under my right, and I'm just gonna get a nice little shoulder stretch here. Good. Release, take it wide. This time, right arm's gonna come under the left. Get a nice little stretch here. Good, taking arms up, touching palms together, bending elbows, taking hands behind you. So biceps and ears are squeezing into each other. Good, taking it up, clasping the hands, pressing away and round. Good, and then from here, we'll take it back. Maybe you just leave your hands there. Maybe you press down and open. It's all about where your range of motion is. And then when you're ready, we're gonna come back to where we started. So to do that, we're gonna come on all fours. Good, taking hands up, we're gonna lift. Good, I'm gonna shift. As I shift back, I'm gonna bend my knees. I'm gonna walk my hands back towards my feet. Good, I'm getting into all 4 corners of the feet. I'm looking for that downward pressure. Good, and then starting from the tailbone, coming all the way back up into that nice standing posture. Good. So give yourself a moment, check that posture. We're looking for ears, shoulders, hips, and ankles. Make any corrections to that and let that good posture carry you for the rest of your day. I hope that you enjoyed this Pilates for Beginners class. If you want more Pilates for Beginners classes, please send me an email at the email address at the end of this video, and I'll see what I can do for you. Thank you. Bye-bye.